Hello. If you've clicked on this button, then chances are you or somebody you love is in a toxic relationship or trying to heal from one. I'm Mary Beth Savatek, the founder of the Psychoenergetic Institute and the developer of the energy model of therapeutic change. Did you know that toxic relationships are almost the lowest vibration of energy that a person can function on? Toxic relationships are low vibration because in order to be in them, we have to dumb down our lives in some way. And it may be educationally, maybe we're with somebody who is toxic and we're not equally yoked in that situation. And so one person has to kind of dumb down in order to keep this person feeling okay. Or it could be a behavior. It's a hostage holding relationship, and it's where one person is feeding off the other, and therefore one or both are pushed down to a low vibration. Neither of them can get above the low vibration because it's a relationship that keeps each other imprisoned, often where one is lower than the other, but this person can't grow either because he needs to feed or she needs to feed off this one in order for this him or her to have substance themselves. The other thing about toxic relationships is they keep you from your divine purpose. As long as you are here doing this toxic dance in a low vibration relationship, then it is impossible, first of all, you can't function at a high vibration here at work or over here doing this or that and then come and be in this low vibration relationships. It's impossible. You can fool yourself into thinking you are, but it's impossible. And so what happens is it keeps you from your divine purpose, because if you can imagine trying to fly one of those little ultralight airplanes and having a 200-pound person go and jump on the back just as you're taking off, I don't think it's going to stay up very high. And if it does, it won't go as high as it could because you're going to have this dead weight hanging on the back. And that's what a toxic relationship does. And it's sent by, to me, it's a dark energy. It is from dark forces, because when we are in a relationship with someone where we both can vibrate on a high level, which is a win-win relationship, it's a relationship that continues to push each other up and support each other, instead of a win-lose or a lose-lose where it's just fighting and pulling in different directions this way and never getting anywhere. So it's a dark force that keeps you from being that light to the world that you're supposed to be, with whatever it is that of your gifts and life passion that you're here for your divine purpose. It keeps you from that. The other thing is toxic relationships are extremely emotionally and physically painful. And I've seen people, very confident people, that inadvertently end up in one, because any of us can end up in one unsuspectingly. But my grandmother always said with head lice, it's not a shame to get it, it's a shame to keep it. And that's how it is with the toxic relationship, is anybody can be to end up with dating someone, and then all of a sudden, just when you get set in the relationship, boom, this clamp comes down and you find out that, oh my gosh, this is not healthy. And so what happens is we rationalize and we move forward, and it just continues to inflict wound after wound, and not only emotionally, but if there's physical abuse, then of course physical wounds, but it can make people sick. When we are under chronic stress, our bodies break down in the area that we are predisposed genetically to get sick. So we have that switch in our body of predisposition and genetics that may or may not get switched on, depending on our stress load and what we bring upon ourselves. So we know that these relationships are extremely painful, and again, which makes it hard to be at a higher vibration or live our divine self. life. And here's the biggest thing: toxic relationships are contagious, because what happens is, when you have a toxic person in the mix, whether it's a workplace, a family, a group of friends, did you ever just have that toxic friend that whenever they come around, then you know, crap, this person's here and here we go. And the same in a relationship. So what happens is it brings out everybody's monsters, because especially when it happens inadvertently, because people feel like they can no longer be in production mode, they're now in self-protection mode. And so it changes everything. And we all have that shadow side in our monsters. And when we get in a toxic dynamic, those monsters come out. And so the only way that we cannot be in that dynamic is to pull ourselves, or to operate in our monster mode, is to pull ourselves out from that toxic dynamic however we can. And in a toxic relationship, it means to get out of it. In a work relationship, sometimes it means to have coaching and to develop new ways to cope with it ourselves, because sometimes we're stuck in that. And I've had toxic coworkers before too, and it's no fun, because it makes everybody crazy. So in the program that we are offering, it's the Rising Above the Vibration of Toxic Relationships Reboot 2021. And it is our reboot camp, because when we get into that toxic situation, we start developing beliefs about ourselves, false beliefs, negative beliefs. We develop habits and patterns that are unnatural and unhealthy, because we get into that mode of trying not to set the other person off, or trying to win back that initial euphoria. It actually becomes addicting to some people, because they live for that little moment of high that they're going to get, that they had in the beginning, which is what sealed the relationship. And then boom, it turned toxic. So they just live hoping for that little bit again and again. And sometimes it can be years and they don't get it. And so, well, in this program, we work to reboot those behaviors through behavior modification tools, through live weekly coaching sessions, weekly meditations that we do, and uh, video lessons. We have written lessons. So there's a lot of tools, because in order to change our thinking and our behavior, it is not instant. We have to develop muscle memory. In the place that we live in, when we moved in, we have a very tall spiral staircase. And when we first moved in, I kept pulling my hip out every time I went up or down the stair, mostly down. And I had to do it very gingerly and hold the railing. And I finally realized there is actually a technique to this. And if I would focus on certain points all the way down, then my body would turn the way it was supposed to, and I wouldn't pull my hip out. And so every time I went down, I would focus on those points coming down, and and within a couple weeks, I realized that my body just does it. I can look around when I'm coming down. I don't have to worry, because I've developed the muscle memory. But the biggest mistake people make these days are, we want instant gratification. We want things now, and we don't want to have to put in the work. We want, just give me this material and I'll read it myself and thank you, I've got this. And so they might apply things for a couple of days, and then within a week or two, oh, either things are going well. It's kind of like the person who's sober for a year and then they go out and celebrate by having a drink. What happens? And so the same thing happens when we try to make any changes, is we want to just go and get the information and try it on our own. And then what ends up happening is, after a while, we either forget or we think it's not working, and we revert to what we've already been doing and the same faulty thinking. So by having the tools, And the weekly coaching where you share your aha moments, where you have your questions, the coaching are guided by the groups. And it's virtual. It's whoever comes in that month, then that's your group. And so that is the coaching. And so you have that time to start developing the muscle memory, to get ideas from other people who are on the same journey that you are, and to have those tools to really have you address some of those things, find out, to be able to look and say, what is my soul purpose? And to be able to look at it from that divine perspective, from your higher self, that part of you that says, that's a red flag, don't do this, or come over here. And it's that part of you that you ignore. And the more you're in a toxic relationship, then the easier it is to ignore that. And the thing that we really work on the most is, I mentioned that these relationships are contagious. So what happens is we go to the next relationship after coming out of one, and even if we've healed, sometimes there's a triggering thing. And so uh, if we don't heal, then it's even worse, because what happens is we start accusing the new person, and we actually can recreate the same toxic dynamic that we came out of with somebody who otherwise wouldn't have been in a toxic person either, because it's contagious. These relationships are contagious. And so we give you tools that once you learn that muscle memory and those things come up, you'll immediately have the tools to be able to pull yourself above it and say, okay, this may be something I'm concerned about, but I have a responsibility not to make this person jump through hoops to make me feel safe and comfortable. That there's a part of that element that we are responsible for, and we have to bring ourselves. And so we give you the tools to do that in the muscle memory. So I encourage you, if this has been a struggle for you, there's so much more I could share, and you'll see some of it in the book on the toxic relationships, but the most of it is when we get into the course, the dynamics behind the dynamics, and we look at it also from an energy level. And we cover a ton more in the course, and so, or the coaching program. So I encourage you to jump in. It's a $299 program. The value of what we're offering is over $1,000, but I want this year, this is our very first virtual program that we're launching. And we have several large programs that are way bigger coming right behind it at the Psychoenergetic Institute. But I want to see people who are in this dynamic rise above it. I want to see 2021 be a reboot year for everybody possible. And so I'm offering this one at $199 for the month of January. After January 16th, actually, then it will go up to $299. So I encourage you to push the button, click on, jump in this program, get your free book, and see some of the information, and you decide if you want to go further. But I know you'll love it. I'm looking forward to helping you change your life and to get above that vibration, whether you want to continue your life as a healthy single person, or if you want to find a high vibrating partner to match your vibration, to get to where you need to be and get to your soul purpose, and to remember who you are and why you came here. So I hope you'll join us. I'm Mary Beth Sabatek, and I'll see you in January to reboot your life in 2021. Thank you.